Govan, if the Toshan Pandey case was sort of a headache and a source of many problems for Johan Boysens, it seems for Kobus Rulofse it was the Richard Mdluli case.
Absolutely, Tula Sizwe, and it's a case which has continued to haunt Colonel Kobus Rulofse until this day. And this Mdluli case, we've seen it coming up many times before in the inquiry, and it is the quintessential case to test Lawrence Mrwebi's fitness to hold office against. So today we heard from Kobus Rulofse. He's the former investigating officer in that corruption case involving Richard Mdluli. And he didn't only speak about how that case eventually ended up not going to court, of course, Lawrence Mrwebi deciding to withdraw the charges against Richard Mdluli, but he also spoke about the long-term implications of that case and what it meant for the legacy of Lawrence Mrwebi. Let's have a look at what he said.
Is there any factual basis upon which you base your allegation that Advocate Mrwebi interfered in the investigations against Mdluli?
I would like to answer the question. If you could be more specific, are you talking about general interference or are you talking about specific interference?
Okay, let me put it this way. Maybe then we will come to the heart of the issue. You mentioned in your testimony that Advocate Mrwebi interfered in the investigation. Am I correct?
I can't remember the exact words, but that is what it boils down to, yes, Chair.
So what you're saying is he interfered in the investigation related to Mdluli.
I'm saying that the decisions that he has made it very difficult for us to investigate the matter because of the views that he held at the time.
Yes.
And I'm still struggling to curtail those views.
So in essence, what you are saying is the interference is related to the decision that he made.
And
Am I correct?
And the subsequent letters that he wrote. You will remember the first memorandum where he said that regardless whether there's a case or not, whether there's a case or not, the investigation cannot continue. And then he followed that up with saying that the investigation is finalized. He also said at some stage that there's a problem with how the documents were confiscated and with the interference there. So those are the things that he said in communication, letters, memos.
Yes, but
that all interfered in the investigation, as I testified earlier.
Yeah.
I am still struggling to. I'm still being accused of stealing the documents because of what he said.
So we saw when Johan Boysen was testifying, Govan, how the counsel for Nomgcobo Jiba were basically not going to take these allegations against her lying down. I imagine that the cross-examination, as we just saw the excerpt there, must have been fireworks.
It was indeed a similar strategy being employed by Advocate Rataga Ramawela here, of course acting for Advocate Lawrence Mrwebi, trying to insinuate that what Lawrence Mrwebi did when he withdrew the charges against Richard Mdluli was he was acting within his powers according to the NPA's prosecutions policy. Of course, there's a lot of debate here about whether or not Lawrence Mrwebi did in fact say in a memorandum that the investigation into Richard Mdluli should be undertaken by the Inspector General of Intelligence. And that memorandum says that the Inspector General of Intelligence should be allowed to be included in this investigation, and the matter is therefore closed. And those few words, the matter is therefore closed, has been interpreted by the Director of Public Prosecutions, prosecutors like Glenys Breitenbach, Jan Ferreira, and now today Colonel in the Hawks, Kobus Rulofse, as saying that Lawrence Mrwebi gave an instruction to the police to stop investigating Richard Mdluli. But of course, Lawrence Mrwebi's lawyer is saying that all he meant was the debate around who should be investigating and whether or not the Inspector General should be included was closed. So that'll be left up to the panelists, Justice Yvonne Mokgoro and her team, to decide who had the correct interpretation. And it could be quite crucial if you consider that what's on the line here is the careers of both Mokgoro Jiba and Lawrence Mrwebi.
Absolutely. And Govan, the other witness that we heard from, that we were expecting to hear a bit more from, was Willie Hofmeyr, who was going to be cross-examined. Did that happen?
That did happen indeed. Willie Hofmeyr's words coming back to bite him in his initial statement when he first appeared and was being led through evidence. He said that when Mokgoro Jiba was appointed to the NPA, he was quite relieved, and he felt that her style of consultation and making sure all prosecutors were included before decisions were made, he thought that that was a breath of fresh air. Of course, Hofmeyr went on to say that under Jiba's stewardship, the NPA slid into a state of disaster. But of course, Advocate Norman Arendse for Jiba, saying today to Willie Hofmeyr, you're so critical of her, and yet you say it was a breath of fresh air when she was appointed. So Willie Hofmeyr having to explain his way through that and justify some of his statements. That's about the only concession that Arendse managed to score from Hofmeyr today. But he didn't finish. Tomorrow we'll have Advocate Ramawela continuing the cross-examination of Willie Hofmeyr, and it seems as if the evidence in this inquiry is being drawn out. We may need a few weeks or at least one more week to finish all the evidence.
All right, thank you so much for that. You can rely on Govan Whittles and the ENCA team to bring you all the updates from the Mokgoro inquiry, which continues tomorrow.